Hello, everybody. Hi, welcome. I am using a new microphone today. And so before we get started, I really want to make sure that this microphone is working. So as I click this, I just want to tell you, hello, hi, welcome. Thanks for joining us today. This is the TNAM AM Show. The TNAM AM Show, everybody. Let's see if the volume is working. So it appears to be working. I just want to tell you, hello, hi, welcome. Thanks for joining us today. So I wonder what the difference is in the audio. TNAM AM Show. What will be the difference in the audio if I switch from? No, this sounds good. I'm fine with this. I don't need to switch it. I can try it later. All right, perfect. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to talk about the Laken Riley Act passing. Thank God. And damn it, this didn't need to happen. It didn't need to happen. We'll discuss. I mean, that was a powerful press conference, and I believe that was the mother that was crying. That monster should have never been here. We'll discuss. Also, there was a helicopter/plane crash outside of D.C. Near Reagan Airport yesterday. We're going to look around and see what we learned. Also, Bobby Kennedy Jr. he's been undergoing his interrogation from the Senate, and wow, thou dost protesteth too much. You're protesting a little too much. Elizabeth Warren, who do you work for, fool? Who do you work for? You know who they work for. It's one big club, and you and I aren't in it. I got to work on a George Carlin. I've never done a George Carlin impression before. By the way, however you're watching, please hit like, please hit subscribe. Always appreciate having you, and leave some comments. Leave your comments because we can include them in the show over here on the side of the program. Oh, look at that. I did not change my name. I do share a studio with Blake, so let me fix that. There we are. I think Blake might be joining me today for Agree to Disagree at 3 p.m. Eastern. So we're going to fly through the news because we will maybe unpack a little bit more this evening. Also, check out TNAM. What is it? What is it called? Strictly Football. I do too many shows. There's no such thing. I would do if I didn't have to do all the uploading, all the tagging, all the editing, all of the copying, pasting, the distribution. If I didn't have to do all of the grunt work, I could broadcast 12 hours a day. I could do 12 different hour-long shows, 12 different 42-minute shows with commercial reads. I could. I'm tired of that Bugs Bunny cartoon where he throws the ball off the pitcher's mound. Then he runs back to home plate and then he hits it. And then he runs into the outfield and then he catches it. And then he throws the ball to home plate where he tags himself out running from third as the catcher. It's a little much playing every role. But that being said, I love this. I love talking with you. I love unpacking the news with you. And I'm honored that you would spend your time with me. So please subscribe to the New American Media in all of the places. All those places are YouTube. We have 1,600 videos roughly over there. We also have, there we go. We also have Rumble, the New American Media, X at American_media_. Two podcasts. One is the Agree to Disagree show, and the other is the Unhappy Hour Sports Show. Subscribe to those on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. We're on Truthful, the New American Media. Facebook, we have a ton of private groups. Search TNAM. We have TNAM Food and Drink, TNAM Humor. We have Strictly Football. Actually, I don't think we have a Strictly Football group. We have Strictly Buckeyes, Strictly Guardians, Strictly Cavaliers, Strictly Browns. But yeah, a bunch of TNAM groups, but TNAM's The Agree to Disagree show is the #1 news group that we have there, and a public page under the New American Media on Facebook. Of course, Instagram, the New American Media. And on Telegram and Signal, we are TNAM and TNAM Chat. All right, let's get going into the news here. This is A moment from the Laken Riley press briefing. I mean, it feels like Donald Trump, President Trump, has done more press conferences and he's done more to fix problems than Joe Biden, Kamala Harris have done in 4 years. Does that make sense? Don't you feel it? Don't you see it? Don't you see the difference between a leader that seems to care and that versus somebody who doesn't mind butchering hundreds of thousands of people in Ukraine and Gaza as long as he can enrich his pockets, as long as 10% comes back to the big guy, routed through all of his family, the shell corporations, the offshore accounts, 10% for the big guy. Hunter Biden, Burisma, all the bribery, all the blowback from that. It's so different when somebody seems to actually give a shit about America. You know, and I'll get to the confirmation hearings in a second with Bobby Kennedy Jr., but my God, the difference between someone like Bobby Kennedy Jr., he's literally saying, like, I don't need this. I don't need this. I don't need this. He's like, I have a great life. President Trump said the same thing. He's like, I have a great life and a great wife. They say, sir, your wife is maybe the best part about you. I said, yes, maybe, but damn it, someone has to make this country great again. So I will. And Bobby Kennedy's like, I don't need this shit. And then you have the Karen, Elizabeth Warren. Remember when some people were duped into believing that Elizabeth Warren gave a shit about you? Can you remember back to a time where it's, oh, geez, if we could just have more people like Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. They are wolves in sheep's clothing, people. Wolves in sheep's clothing. Yeah. Anyway, we'll get to that. All right, let's play you this clip from once again, make sure on Instagram you follow The New American Media. They will likely say, are you sure you would like to follow The New American Media? They've repeatedly posted content that goes against our community guidelines as laid out by our independent third-party fact checkers. By the way, independent third-party fact checkers are nothing more than non-governmental organizations paid by the government to attack conservatives, libertarians, and constitutionalists. That's all NGO means. NGO, kind of neo. How about neo? Isn't it like a Taiwanese or a Philippine, like no? Andy no? GNO? Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent, but follow us, even though Instagram limits our reach. So like our content, share our content, comment on our content. It will pop up on your feed. And each day we put irrelevant stories up there. I mean, some of the best feed that we have is on our Instagram. It's just we follow great accounts and we share them with you. So here's a moment from the event yesterday. This is a tone-deaf reporter. And you know what? Libs of TikTok says a tone-deaf reporter interrupts the signing of the Laken Riley Act. And it was done. It was signed. And now he's handing out the commemorative pens. You know, here, take this home with you. Remember the time that you came to the White House and we did something for you. I'm going to defend the journalist here. You only have so many seconds in the room. If you're additionally taking questions, he asked a question, but, you know, like DC Drano said, read the room, buddy. But here's the interaction.
President, government funding. Can you take a quick question on government funding to pause?
I don't think this is appropriate. Really. I respect that, but I don't think it's appropriate.
And he said, I respect that. I respect that you have questions. And look, President Trump signed things like, all right, we're going to halt. What was the number? 3 trillion. It's hard to get accurate numbers these days. You know that. You know that. I know that. The American people know that. I'm Bob Dole. But President Trump stopped a whole bunch of funding. And then there was confusion. Like, what about Meals on Wheels? They're like, no, that's not going to be a thing. It's NGOs. Like, what about all the people that rely on? And they're like, hold on. I think they paused that. So they were going to do that. And then they did that. And it's been a lot of confusion. So I think they halted it to figure it out and clarify it a little more for everybody. But I like the thought process of just stop everything, unplug everything, hit reset, Control Alt Delete. We're unplugging every cable and wire. We're unattaching everything and just getting a rat's nest of cables, setting them aside and going, okay, let's just plug in the bare minimum. What is the bare minimum? And I like that. And President Trump's like, I respect that question, but I don't think this is the time.
Just tell you government is doing very well and we're cutting way back, but this is not the appropriate time. Thank you.
Look at that. He elicited a round of applause from the people in that room. Number one, because of the moment. Number two, because he handled it really well.
Mr. President, government funding, can you take a quick question?
So, I can see both sides. I think this was statesmanly Trump. This is a win for Trump. Good job. And I really don't. He politely asked, can you answer a question about the government funding, please? It's a really big deal. And he's like, I just don't think this is the time or place. So I think this is a nice interaction. It was a polite volley from the press and a polite thanks, but no thanks. We'll address it. The government's doing really well. We're cutting spending because we have to, and that's good. It was just a good moment. There was a moment. I was watching this live as it happened, and I believe it was the mother of Laken Riley behind President Trump up and to his left. And she was choking up and crying and, I would love to have some justice for my brother who died in COVID. By the way, happy heavenly birthday to my brother who for the third birthday now, don't get to see him. Thanks for that, Fauci. Where is the justice for Chris Engelman, my brother, my only sibling? Where is the penalty for Fauci for violating the gain of function ban? Where's the penalty for Fauci for lying to us about masks, about the origin of this plague that he unleashed? It was Fauci's group funding this laboratory in Wuhan, China. And remember when they lied about it and said, oh, a bat kissed a pangolin. This is from a soup. Oh, it came from a wet market. Did it? No, it didn't. Now they're going, all right, well, yeah, it was a lab leak. You go, no. Nope. No. This was an intentional release. Intentional release. An intentional plague set upon the earth by Fauci and his ilk. I would like a Christopher John Engelman Act. Christopher Engelman Act. We have got a Laken Riley Act. How about a Christopher Engelman Act? Let's go after Fauci and the monsters that unleash this plague intentionally. Prove me wrong. In order to A, B, C, D, E, F, G. A lot of reasons. Made a lot of money. Disrupted President Trump's reelection. It offed a lot of old people that don't have to collect Social Security anymore, huh? That's a financial savings for some. There's thoughts that maybe depopulation could be involved in this. Let's take a look. I think with Bobby Kennedy involved, we will take a look. I would like to see a Christopher Engelman Act in honor of my brother. And by the way, the New American Media did put in for press credentials. And if we are fortunate enough to be selected, as we were when we were given press passes to the 2016 Republican convention, this was when President Trump accepted his nomination in Cleveland at Quicken Loans Arena, or Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, whatever you call it. If we have the chance to get into that room, I have a million questions. I don't know how the process works. I'm open to it because I have 100 legitimate questions about serious matters. I'd like to kind of do some human interest questions, maybe some pop culture questions, music questions, sports questions. But then, if I get one question, I would have to lead with that. You got a Laken Riley Act for, a senseless death. Can I have a Christopher Engelman Act for what Fauci did and then lied about and profited from? So that would be my first question. So anyway, I'm just really happy that this act passed, and it's really targeting the illegal entry of monsters into our country. You would not allow poison into your water supply. Why would you allow poison into your country? Riddle me that. Please riddle me that. By the way, however you're watching, please hit like, please hit subscribe, hit the thumbs up, hit the heart, and drop a comment so I can know that you're watching. I always appreciate engaging with you. This is not just me talking at you. I am live right now. 10:48 a.m. I'm live. So however you can approach I'm watching a screen on Facebook. Maybe I can see it there. I'm watching a screen on Rumble. Maybe I can see your comments there. I'm watching a screen over here that takes, I think, the X and YouTube comments filter through here. So let's play tennis, shall we? Fun fact, I was captain of my tennis team. All right, let's take a look over here. This is from David Medina. Saying during his Senate confirmation hearing today, Bobby Kennedy Jr. was attacked by Oregon Senator Ron Wyden, who accused RFK of only pursuing money and fame. Oh, really, Ron Wyden? Ron Wyden has accepted over $1.5 million from his puppet masters, Big Pharma. Okay, it's zoomed in. Corruption at its finest. 1.5 million. Okay. Now, I wish this graphic here gave me some specific companies that donated, but you know the usual suspects in the big pharma industry. Ginger over here saying, and there it is. I knew he was yelling at RFK Jr. for no reason. Tint Shop NC says they always accuse others of what they're actually doing. Yeah, that's deflection at its finest. That is who the Democrats are. They are the worst. We as Americans must shatter the Democrat Party politically into 1,000 pieces and cast them to the wind. They are traitors. They are dangerous. They are divisive. They are destructive. They are gaslighters. They are obstructionists. They don't work for you. They actually hate you. And I think a lot of Republicans do as well. But I think the MAGA movement is different. MAGA is very different from those Mitch McConnell dirtbags in the Republican Party. The Liz Cheneys that got blown out by 30, 40 points in her reelection attempt. The Kinzingers that are gone. Bunch of traitors. The MAGA people are working for America, working for you. I don't give a shh about the Republicans. Definitely have to destroy the Democrats politically. But yeah, anyway, Danielle Speaks Life says, in the name of transparency, every senator, no matter their affiliation, should be required to disclose publicly which industries and individuals like Bill Gates have sponsored them financially and who would personally be affected by their confirmation of the nominee. And yeah, Hutch Montana says, yes, Oregon senator. And by the way, it's Oregon, kind of like organ music, not Oregon. I worked with a girl. Ami. It was like AIMEE instead of Amy. It was Ami. I'm like, oh, you're from Oregon. Oregon. She's like, I'm not from Oregon. I'm from Oregon. Oregon. Ami. Well, F me. All right, whatever. I don't know. Yeah, yes, Oregon senator who lives in New York City. Proof that the elections are corrupt in the Northwest. All right. So there you go, Ron Wyden. He's a hero. Not so much. All right. This is pretty great here. Sponsored by Pfizer. Senators, this is from the Babylon Bee. Senators pause RFK hearing to announce this next round of questions is brought to you by Pfizer. Brought to you by Pfizer. Oh my gosh, her shrieking. I cannot be the only one that has my skin crawl off of my body when I have to endure the shrieking of people like Elizabeth Warren. And I can't, but I'm so sorry some of you fell for the grift. I'm so sorry that some of you fell for, oh, Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, they're really bucking the system. Oh, I wish more of our Congress people were like those two. Oh, they're so good. They are awful. They are completely compromised. They play for the other team. They don't like you. It's obvious. You might disrupt, you might flip the apple cart, as they say. Anyway. Switching gears here. Let's go to Van Man. Let's go to these. Van Man posts are pretty good. Let's see what they have here. There's a couple of Man with a Van. This is Rand Paul. I'll just play the clip first.
I'm alarmed that you won't say with certainty that minors should not have the ability to make the decision to take hormones that will affect them for the rest of their life. Will you make a more firm decision on whether or not minors should be involved in these decisions?
Senator, transgender medicine is a very complex and nuanced field.
It's not complex and nuanced. It's not. You don't do it to kids, period. If you're an adult and you want to roll the dice on all of that, I would encourage you not to. I wish you wouldn't. If you start lopping and chopping, you will never have an orgasm again for the rest of your life. You can love who you love. You can feel how you feel. You can dress how you want. Just use the bathroom that you're born with and pay for it yourself. If you want to go doing these Frankenstein, the horror stories from people who fell victim, and you can say they've been victimized by these procedures. You know, this video clip here is to show you the difference between a assistant secretary of health, this man dressed as a woman here, and Bobby Kennedy Jr. Which of these individuals best represents a healthy mental mindset for the country? I would argue Bobby Kennedy Jr. is somebody that's going to bring an enormous value to society. And look, if private funding wants to continue these sexual mutilation procedures, want to continue researching the field, studying the field, experimenting on people, as abhorrent as I may personally find it, as sad as I personally find it, as destructive as I know that it is, and this is coming from a place of love, I don't want to see people get harmed. You can do it in America. Just leave the kids alone, pay for it yourself, and just use the bathroom you were born with. These are basic principles. In this clip, I'm just showing you the counterpoint, RFK Jr. versus this.
And if confirmed to the position of Assistant Secretary of Health, I would certainly be pleased to come to your office and talk with you and your staff about the standards of care and the complexity of this field.
Let it go into the record that the witness refused to answer the question. The question is a very specific one. Should minors be making these momentous decisions? For most of the history of medicine, we wouldn't let you have a cut sewn up in the ER. But you're willing to let a minor take things that prevent their puberty, and you think they get that back? I'm alarmed that you won't say with certainty that minors should not have the ability to make the decision to take hormones that will affect them for the rest of their life.
Yeah, children cannot consent to such things. This person was born Richard Leland Levine in 1957 in Massachusetts, an American pediatrician, politician, and four-star admiral in the U.S. Public Health Service Commissioned Corps. Now goes by the name Rachel Levine, and was unwilling to say, no, we're not going to do this stuff to kids. You know, by the way, let me just show you. Oh, I guess this isn't. I already submitted, and it gave me a congratulations, you've submitted. Thank you. I didn't get like an instant email, so I think I'm going to submit again. It says leave your media outlet. I put X. I'll probably put our YouTube feed on next, but just to show you, yes, I did in fact apply for the New American Media to be White House press, and I look forward to seeing how that develops. Yeah, Rand Paul asking the right questions here.
Will you make a more firm decision on whether or not minors should be involved in these decisions?
Senator, transgender medicine is a very...
Okay, it repeated there. Yeah, who is the government official that delayed a fluoride report that all external peer reviewers concluded that prenatal and early life exposure to drinking water levels of fluoride led to lower IQ? This person, Levine.
Chronic health epidemic.
And here you go, Bobby Kennedy talking about the chronic health epidemic. Talking with Senator Ron Johnson from Wisconsin. That rhymes.
Epidemic. There's no such thing as Republican children or Democratic children. These are our kids. 66% of them are damaged. I know what a healthy kid looks like because I had so many of them in my family. I didn't know anybody with a food allergy growing up, peanut allergy. Why do 5 of my kids have allergies? Why are we seeing these explosions in diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, neurological diseases, depression, all of these things that are related to toxic in the environment. Why can't we just agree with each other to put differences about so many issues, intractable issues aside, and say, we're going to end this? I don't think anybody is going to be able to do this like I have because of my peculiar experience, because I've litigated against these agencies.
I love his wife just literally peering over his shoulder. She's not, they've had squabbles. She's a Hollywood lefty. And I mean, look, Bobby Kennedy he's a lefty as well. Go through his laundry list of opinions, and there's a million reasons why you would not want him as president of the United States. But his particular, specific level of education and nuance on the topic of health, it makes him uniquely qualified to help us figure out what the fork, F-O-R-K, is going on with the health destruction in our country. This is so overdue. It's one of the many things that I'm most excited about with the second or third Donald Trump administration. There's theories out there that maybe Trump let Biden pretend he was president, but he never became actually president. He never actually became president. I'm not saying I believe with such theories. I'm just saying other people say. A lot of people say Sleepy Joe might have pretended, but he was never me, never actually sworn in. I don't know. There's theories about that. But my point is, one of the things I'm most excited about is Bobby Kennedy helping fix the mess. We never used to be this fat, this sick, this mentally damaged, taking all these SSRI. Oh, there was a back and forth about SSRIs from a crazy lady yesterday. I'm sorry. It's not right to say crazy. I do have a psychology degree. I'm serving my role as a pundit today. So I'm offering my opinions, but I do have a clinical health background. I do have a psychological health background, sociological health background. That is what I went to school for. I did volunteer at crisis centers. I did, I did a whole thing. I know more than some, certainly not an expert. But as I was listening to this lady, she was, God, I wonder if I can find that clip. Let me get through these clips. Actually, you know what? Let me look for it right now while I'm thinking about it. SSRI Bobby Booby, B-O-B-B-Y. Senate. Where is this lady? I want to play this for you and see if you had the same impression. Trying to find the exchange, not seeing it. But it was a lady who was saying, you've said this and that about the mental health. Actually, let me type in video games. See if that comes up. Yeah, I'm not finding the clip. Anyway, I'm going to have to bail. But the point is, I saw something where one of the ladies was yapping and saying, you've said that SSRIs can cause school shootings. Yeah. I'm sorry. Have you lived under a rock? Are you unaware of the potential link that needs to be examined much more about selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Not saying it's causal, but we are saying it must be investigated. A shocking number of school shooters have been on selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. And this lady, I was trying to pull it up and play it verbatim. I can't seem to find the clip on a quick glimpse. Once again, my kingdom for a producer, please. I'd say, hey, Jamie, can you find me that clip from a lady talking about SSRIs? And then Bobby's like, I said it could be video games. I said it could be this. It could be diet. It could be environmental. It could be a lot of factors. And it could be. But if you're in the business of defending the people who make these SSRIs, then you're going to block anybody like Fauci trying to block anybody investigating where in the heck did COVID come from? Who's responsible for it? Well, Shit, no doubt you're going to block it. You're the one that did it. You were told not to. And just like rendition, we're not supposed to have cruel and unusual punishment. We're not supposed to do torture. Well, if we find a non-governmental organization or whatever you want to call it, we fund Peter to torture Paul in Northern Africa. Black site detention facilities. Oh, no, we're not torturing people. No. Under Obama. No. I mean, you could go back to Bush as well. No, we're not torturing. No, we would never. Excuse me, you're funding the group that did the thing. Well, that's something totally different. Like I said, we don't do that. Yes, you did. Just like how Obama Biden went after the tech companies to censor Americans who were Republicans, MAGA, Trump supporters, libertarians, constitutionalists. Oh, no. The government's not doing that. Excuse me. The government is funding the groups that are claiming to be neutral third parties so that they can give a hit list to silence and censor and virtually delete the voices of the dissenting opinions of those against the Democrat deep state party. This is the game they play. And this is what is being unraveled right now. This has the potential to be the most positively transformative time in American history, without a doubt. So stay tuned, everybody. Anyway, Bobby continues.
When you litigate against them, you get a PhD chronic health epidemic. There's no such thing as Republican children or Democratic children. These are our kids. 66% of them are damaged. I know what a healthy kid looks like because I had so many of them in my family. I didn't know anybody with a food allergy growing up, peanut allergy. Why do 5 of my kids have allergies? Why are we seeing these explosions in diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, neurological diseases, depression, all of these things that are related to toxics in the environment?
And instead, they just, here, take a pill. And someone makes money off of it. It's gross. Stop harming people, then you don't have to pay for pills that give you maybe some relief, potentially, and a potential laundry list of side effects. It's gross. It is gross. Shame on the people who've been profiting on this and not delivering the actual results. The other thing, Fauci and his ilk, this isn't just one man Fauci. It's Fauci and his team. It's Fauci and his puppet masters. You know, he's the spokesperson for it. Highest paid person in the federal government also. There's a whole team of people who have been lying about how dangerous this is for kids. Oh, all the kids need to be vaccinated now for COVID-19. Oh, do they? According to you, aren't you making a commission off of every unit sold? Shouldn't you disclose that? Shouldn't you have to wear a suit that has patches from your sponsors before you try to tell me something that you claim to be as a neutral, non-biased opinion? Put Bobby in immediately and set him loose. Team him up with Kash Patel. Team him up with Tulsi Gabbard. It's all connected. The treasonous acts that occurred because of the release, the intentional release, prove me wrong. My lack of evidence doesn't make it false. My lack of evidence doesn't make me wrong. This was an intentional lab leak from Fauci and his ilk. The people at that Wuhan laboratory that should have never been getting NIH funding. But they just offshored it. No, it wasn't us. Want to talk about Lyme disease? We want to talk about a million other issues. Want to go back to AIDS? Let's have some important conversations, shall we? Let's have some important conversations. And I think Bobby Kennedy's the one that I want in the middle of this. I want him to be the man in the arena. Let's go.
Why can't we just agree with each other to put differences about so many issues, intractable issues aside, and say, we're going to end this? I don't think anybody is going to be able to do this like I have because of my peculiar experience, because I've lived.
All right, there you go. I think we caught the gist of that. Kaylee Means was astounding. Reporters at RFK hearing have pre-written negative headlines. Once again, look, I'm going to call things as I see them. I'm not just always going to put the thing that makes the other side look bad. I'm going to individually assess Every scenario, every story. I saw Tim Pool and Luke Radowski. Look, Tim Pool does some good work. Luke Radowski does some good work. I've interviewed Luke and hope to have him back on the show and what have you. But look, what does it say? Specifically, let's just read what it says. Let me look in here. RFK Jr. faces grilling on anti-vaccine comments and animal mutilation at common hearing. Trump live updates. That's super negative. He is going to be grilled on comments that are, and by the way, I don't want to call this anti-vaccine. Well, what's Bobby Kennedy's response to this? I've seen this a couple of times. He's like, worked for a long time to get mercury out of our fish. No one's ever accused me of being anti-fish. To just say that you're anti-vaccine, I think is a little weird. I think what you can say that you are is that you are pro-investigation, pro-common sense, and pro-calling out narratives that have been proven to be fraudulent. So I don't think that headline is all that bad. And I made this analogy on yesterday's TNAM AM show. I just said, look, every sports reporter, every beat reporter, I've listened to comment after comment over the years. Or interview after interview, rather, they write the entire story in advance of a baseball game. You know, or they'll have like generic headlines going in, and here's after a tough swing, they're on a downfall. These guys are fighting for playoffs, but and you kind of pre-write some things based on what you know at the time, and maybe by the sixth inning, you have a story written. I've heard a lot of interviews with sports writers who say, I had the whole, because the razor thin deadline, you have to file this story immediately so that it could make the print. Kids today, you don't even know what print is. But back in the day, if you wanted to flip on your phone and see the news, it was called grabbing the newspaper and seeing what was written. Yes, I know television was on, but you had to file your report for the 10 o'clock news that evening, the evening news. You had to hurry up and get it in. I mean, minutes. You had as soon as it's done. But a lot of people have said, I was at this game and, had this all written about how this bounced back and, he had a no-hitter going for a while, blah, blah, blah. But then all of a sudden, the eighth inning or the ninth inning, an error led to this and that, and then a double off the wall, and then a hit by batter, and then a stolen base, a 3-run home run. You have to rewrite your whole story, but you have paragraphs kind of set in place. And then at the end, that's where you put the pieces together like Legos or Tetris pieces and make the story coherent. I don't think there's anything about what's on that screen that jumps out at me as being unfair. He is facing questions about being anti-vax. What is the animal one? If you're talking about Fauci and the Beagles, yeah, let's get some damn justice on the torture. It's like Mengele shit that Fauci's into. Anyway, let's continue here. Okay, tallow and honey balm. Okay, I think these are just okay, now we're back to Van Man Advert. Not a sponsor. Maybe they should be. Maybe I'll to them. All right, this here from Carmen Estelle says today, meaning yesterday, we not only learned that the Democrats shill for big pharma, always have, but also that they will fight to the death for big pharma at the expense of the American people. You can never again say that you didn't know. So never again. Oh, here you go. Here's some of the money taken from big pharma based on contributions from pharmaceutical companies and related political action committees, as reported in various outlets. Ron Wyden, Democrat, $1.2 million. Bernie Sanders, Democrat, $1.4. Elizabeth Warren, $871,000. Michael Bennett, Democrat, $730,000. And Raphael Warlock, call him Warnock, $790,000. Here's a list of Democratic senators who have been reported to own stocks in pharmaceutical companies. Financial disclosures. By the way, why do these people have the ability? Why are they not barred from profiting off of the things that they do? Dianne Feinstein, Kirsten Gillibrand, Tom Carper, Debbie Stabenow, Mark Warner, Sheldon Whitehouse, and Amy Klobuchar. Coons, Kane, Van Hollen, Shaheen, Menendez, Warren, Smith, and Hassan. Yeah, by the way, just a couple of quick things. How does America rank in infant mortality compared to other industrialized nations? Relatively high when compared to other industrialized nations. U.S. has an infant death mortality of about 5.36 per 1,000 live births in 2021, placing only 57th out of 195 countries and territories. Placing near the top at cancer incidence, 318 cases per 100,000 for all cancers combined. Mortality rate for ischemic. I don't know that. I'm not familiar with ischemic heart disease. Among the highest. So, vaxxed and afraid. Anyway, yeah, if we're doing everything wrong, how about we try some new shit? That makes sense? All right, here's a story that you've seen, you woke up to, and I gotta mute this. We will dig in, maybe take on X for some of the latest here, but this is Chad Prather putting it out there. It's American. You want to look, yeah, I think it was at the bottom right there. Keep a look at the right here, I think. There's the plane, there's the helicopter, and there it hits and explodes. This is American Airlines Flight 5342 from Wichita, Kansas, inbound to DCA, colliding midair with a reported military helicopter on approach. Obvious questions. Does this have anything to do with the drone activity off the East Coast? New Jersey is not too far from DC, all up and down the eastern seaboard. Who was on this flight? Was this an intentional act? We know the cartels have threatened to shoot down planes. We know several assassination attempts have been made on Trump by messing with his plane. What do we know? So anytime this happens, first off, a prayer to everybody involved. Second, who was on that plane? Remember when RFK Jr. was, or JFK Jr. was killed in a crash? Wasn't he going up against Hillary Clinton at the time? Remember all those jokes about the Clintons? So we have questions. There's a lot to unpack in the early moments here. So I think I will pop on the, here, let me pop onto my X feed. I wish I could have found you that SSRI Bobby Kennedy. Actually, let me try it one more time. RFK Jr., video game, SSRI. Maybe the clip will come up. Senate. Confirmation hearing. Yeah, at this point, my producer would have had it figured out. He pops in a Zin during the hearing. Confirm this man at once. Oh, is this it? Here we go. Perfect. Now I can find it. This is a quick clip. Tina Smith. And look, like I said, I didn't mean to call her crazy. It's a little rude, but also, I mean, she's kind of outing herself and she sounds nuts. This is only a 20-second clip, but just she seems unhinged in, this is many minutes. This is a quick, let me just type her name. What's her name? Tina Smith. Rena Smith. How about Tina Smith? RFK Jr. SSRI. Okay, this might be it. This is important. There we go. Let's play you this entire exchange. Let's just let it speak for itself. Here we go.
So you can't say that people
to impose any preconceived ideas that I may have. I just want to have good science.
So
he wants good science, and he's not going to impose his preconceived ideas.
you're not saying that they aren't dangerous, which means that they could be dangerous. Let me ask.
Yes, everything that you put in your body could be dangerous.
Described Americans who take mental health medications as addicts who need to be sent to recover. Is that what you believe?
Anybody should be able to do anything.
No, but you said they should be sent.
Said they should be to them. I didn't say they should be sent. Dreaming.
Antidepressants are like addicts. That I can provide that,
Oh, I
Mr.
think they
Chair.
should have the availability. Listen, I know people,
So-
including members of my family, who've had a much worse time getting off of SSRIs than they did than people have getting off of heroin. It's the withdrawal period is, I mean, and it's written
actually have
on the label.
I have some
This is
experience
very well
with this
documented.
myself, Mr. Kennedy. This is personal for me. When I was a young woman and I was struggling with depression, thankfully, I had the resources to help me get through it, including a new generation of SSRI uptake inhibitors, which helped to clear my mind, get me back on track to being a mom and a wife and a productive, happy person. And I'm really grateful for that therapy. So I have some experience with this, and I think that everyone.
And that is exactly how the pharmaceutical companies sell that. By the way, not everybody has the same experience on that. Not everybody's able to get off of that. Some people have really rough side effects, including severely violent ideologies and an uncontrollable compulsion to commit violent acts. This has been the long-standing accusation against SSRIs. No one particular company, it doesn't matter. It's about it in general. It's been linked over and over and over and over again. Is it causal? Or are the most violent, dangerous people more likely to be prescribed this in the off chance that they can land the completion of a Hail Mary to get their life in order? Complete train wrecks ready to go out there and commit mass shootings and commit mass violence. So it's a chicken and the egg. That's why you study it. That's why you don't instantly demonize people who are calling out the potentiality for problems here. She's just kind of glossing over the fact, open up the warning sheet. You know, it starts this little and you unfold it, and suddenly it's large enough to wrap over top of your house. Yeah. Read the warnings of the SSRIs and tell me who's more accurately representing the potential pitfalls of this medication in particular. Almost every medication has potential pitfalls, by the way. Every one, I think. Almost all of them. I think you can overdose on water, by the way. Remember those hold your wee for a wee contests that the radio shows did? Burst your bladder. I think you can die of being too hydrated, too much water as well. Anyway, she continues.
Should have access to that care. And your job as secretary is to expand access to care, not to spread lies and
What's the lie?
misinformation. And
Okay, I'm kind of done with anybody that wants to say lies, misinformation, or disinformation, or insurrection. There's little buzzwords that let you know when a person is
the
being
things that you
disingenuous.
say, Mr. Kennedy, they live on. They have impact. And, we're having this conversation at the same moment that my Republican colleagues are looking to try to figure out how to save money any way they can. And so they want to cut Medicaid. Let's just
Hold on. Why is it only your Republican colleagues that want to save money and cut when you're $36 trillion in debt? Oh, I think she outed herself right there. This is why you don't vote Democrat. Where'd it go? Doggone it. What happened?
for that therapy. So I have things that you say, Mr.
They live on.
Kennedy, at the same moment, act.
There we go.
And, we're having this conversation at the same moment that my Republican colleagues are looking to try to figure out how to save money any way they can. And so they want to cut Medicaid. Let's just think about this for a minute, because you're going to be, should you be confirmed, you would be responsible for CMS, which provides mental and behavioral health care to millions of Americans. Close to 40% of folks on Medicaid have a behavioral health condition. And you would be
40% of people on Medicaid have mental health problems. Maybe part of the problem is how things are being prescribed. Instead of getting people healthy food, getting some vitamin D, getting some sunlight, getting some fresh air, throwing out their processed bullshit fake food, and getting off of the bullshit chemicals, the chemical cocktails that get them through each day. This is not sustainable for a nation and on an individual level. The goal should be to get off of that shit and get your life in order. 40% of the people on Medicaid have mental health issues. I think she's implying that they're also medicated. Okay. Ding, ding, ding. That should be a flashing red light that a problem is occurring.
Part of this administration that would be looking to cut Medicaid. So, Mr. Kennedy,
Wait, why are they cutting Medicaid? Aren't they cutting everything because we have 36 trillion in debt, an unpayable number? By the way, who are we in debt to? By the way, who is the Federal Reserve and why do they get to print money and charge us interest on our own money? That doesn't make sense either. Fix that too while we're at it.
these statements that you've made linking antidepressants to school shootings, they reinforce the stigma.
Reinforce a stigma or accurately portray the potential pitfalls of something that's being sold as a panacea, something that's being sold as a cure-all, a fix-all, something that, trust us. Just trust the science. I am the science. If it's on the market, it must be safe for you. How many things that have been approved have been recalled because of the massive damage caused? A ton. How much money has been made from those same drugs in between the time that they pushed it and maybe fudged the numbers and maybe fudged their research, knowingly pushing something that's going to harm people, and then the time it was recalled? Oh, a ton of money in that time. So take it easy, lady. I think researching this stuff and researching it a little bit more deeply, that shows an emotional intelligence, a strong cognitive ability. Whereas the people that are just trying to trust us, I don't like anyone that wants to say, trust me. I like people that say, hey, here's what I'm thinking. Here's where I got this information. Take a look. What do you think? Meet me back here. We'll talk about it again tomorrow. That's the point of the Agree to Disagree show. Hopefully we'll be doing that show at 3 p.m. today with Blake Wally. I believe we're going to do that. And check out my show, Strictly Football, with Mike Barra. We did that 2 days ago, a Super Bowl preview show. YouTube and Rumble and X. Find those programs. Let her continue here.
Have a behavioral health condition. And you would be part of this administration that would be looking to cut Medicaid. So, Mr. Kennedy,
She's just framing it as cutting Medicaid. Like, you're in debt. You got to trim your expenses. You got to figure out how to pay each month's bills. Yeah, you cut things. And if there's waste and abuse, how much money is being wasted giving people medications when they could try to take charge of their own lives and do it without them? Potentially a lot.
statements that you've made linking antidepressants to school shootings,
Yeah, a lot of people make those statements because a lot of people are researching it. And you're trying to sweep it under the rug, and I find you to be highly, Senator Tina Smith, I find you to be highly untrustworthy, a little dishonest here. And I'm questioning your motivation. I get that it's personal to you. I get that you took antidepressants, you did SSRIs, and you had a good experience. And you don't want RFK Jr. to advertise the dangers? Yeah, her experience is not the same experience as everyone else's.
they reinforce the stigma.
It's not stigma if it's honesty. That's the thing. We're never going to be silenced ever again. That's what the Obama doctrine, silencing people into being so scared of opposing an opinion that you get steamrolled over logic. Oh, yeah, there's two genders. Nope, there's a trillion. Okay. Up is down, down is up, left is right. There's no stigma in investigating things anymore, and there never will be. We cannot ever allow that. We have to have robust, open conversation. We can agree to disagree, but we have to talk. That's what we're allowed to do in America.
That people who
No more medical tyranny again, like the Democrats forced on us during COVID
experience
through the social media blackouts.
linking antidepressants to school shootings, they reinforce the stigma.
There is a link.
That people who experience
They may not be causal, but there is a link. Like I said, chicken and the egg, which came first? The dangerous, violent people, as a last-ditch resort, they get the SSRIs and it doesn't do anything to fix them. Or some people snap while on them and it creates violent ideologies that they're compelled to act out. We need more research into that. Don't you dare shut him down and try to say, no, we shouldn't research that anymore. No, there couldn't possibly be a link. There could possibly be a link to a lot of things. Let's investigate it all. And science is not settled ever. Science is battled and debated on a daily basis. Every single day. It's a hypothesis. It's my working comprehensive analysis of the information based on what I have at the moment. I'm making my educated. Okay. Well, I guess that's settled. That's you hitting your alarm clock in the morning on your phone or whatever. New day. All right. Time to battle my hypothesis again against everybody and trying to tell me that it might not be accurate. Let's go. That is called science. You never stop working, research, study, and re-evaluate what you think you thought you knew. All right?
Mental health every day, face every single day. And I'm very concerned that this is another example of your record of sharing false and misleading information that.
All right. Never again. False and misleading. Up. Shut up. Misinformation, disinformation. Shut up. You don't know everything. You don't know everything. Misinformation, disinformation. You mean an opinion that don't happen to agree with. That's what you mean.
Actually really hurts people.
Senator, you're
Thank you, Mr.
mischaracterizing my statements.
I am only putting into the record what you have said, Mr. Kennedy.
You're mischaracterizing my statements, and I'm happy that you had a good experience on SSRIs. Many Americans have very good experience on it. Others have
That
not.
would be an issue between them and their physicians, and not for
And
the future
exactly.
head of HHS to.
Wrong. Because you know what Fauci did? Fauci pushed a one-fits-all approach for COVID. It scared doctors and banned potentially life-saving therapeutic options, such as monoclonal antibodies, hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, and more. The Merck protocol. They said, nope, trust me, I'm the science. I know everything. Therefore, no hospital will be allowed to administer ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, monoclonal antibodies after they're proven to be effective. You terrorized all of the patients and did not let them have an open and honest conversation with the doctors, because the doctors were handcuffed by you and the Fauciites, the Obamaites, the Bidenites, the Democrats, the deep state, who said there's a one-size-fits-all approach to treating XYZ, and you shall not be allowed to try a different option. That led to deaths. Like I said, happy birthday to my brother, who's no longer with us. They wouldn't give him ivermectin. You know what we had to do? We had to get it on the black market. No, it wasn't horse paste. It's a Nobel Prize award-winning drug. Don't say something so stupid. Don't repeat what Rachel Maddow, MSNBC, or CNN tell you. Very little side effects, if any. Lighter side effects than ibuprofen in a lot of studies. So billions of doses worldwide of ivermectin. But suddenly it's bad because it would get in the way of Fauci making commission checks, crushing commission checks off of his shot. And he's saying there's a one-size-fits-all approach and you must take this thing. And if not that, then you must take remdesivir, something the nurses have repeatedly called remdesivir. Once again, chicken and the egg. I don't know. Did it cause it, or did just the worst case people end up getting it and just there's nothing you can do to help them? I don't know. But we don't know because the government got involved and forced doctors to limit their care. And they said, you must treat this way under threat. And so people like my brother were denied monoclonal antibodies. They couldn't find hydroxychloroquine, couldn't be prescribed ivermectin. We said, well, he's deteriorating. It's been days and days and weeks, and he still can't breathe. Can we fucking try anything to fix what's happening? Because whatever you've tried hasn't fixed it. Nope, not allowed. Banned from prescribing such minimal risk drugs like ivermectin. You know what we had to do? We had to buy it on the black market. And I say black market, I just mean we had to go obtain it from a pharmacy. And then we had to deliver it. I mean, this was like I had 3 or 4 people driving and picking things up and going to the hospital, and then someone transported it in, then somebody gave it to someone else that went in. The nurses said they couldn't give it to him. Once he had reached intubation stage, it's like, oh my God, he's going to be dead. He's going to be dead. Okay, let's all hands on deck. We've been pleading to get actual medicine here. Nope, one size fits all approach. This lady seems to be advocating there's a one size fits all approach. And how dare you get in between with your misinformation and disinformation? Shut up, lady. Everybody has the right to determine their own medical choices. Okay? The nurses said, no, we can't give that to them. We're banned. We'll lose our jobs. We'll get thrown in jail if we do. But if you show me the pill, all right, you mix it with a little bit of water, you crush it up this way, you mix it with a little bit of water, and here's the tube that you open this valve, you put it in here, and it goes through the feeding tube while intubated. I can't do that, but if I were going to do that, that's how I would do it. It's actually pretty easy. And by the way, I'm going to go step outside for about 10 minutes, and I'll make sure nobody else comes in the next 10 minutes. Wink, wink. That's what this medical tyranny of people like this lady, that's what is created when you claim to have all of the answers about medicine, all of the answers about science. No more research necessary. Our Lord God Fauci has spoken. We're not doing that anymore. We're not doing that. There are real world ramifications to acting that way. And she's embodying all of the wrong stuff right here. I mean, I watched this interaction live and, oh, it got my blood boiling, as you could imagine. On the eve of my brother's birthday, today, when I should be cheersing him, saying, what's up? Calling him on the phone and hearing him say, what up, doe? That became every time I call, what up, doe? Like, what up, though? What up, doe? What up, doe? Don't get those anymore. You know? I had an interaction with two hospital, I don't know, administrators, upper level. Basically, I run this hospital, and another guy that he works with or works for. And yeah, we got to talking, and I told that story briefly. Don't want to be the Debbie Downer, but shit, if the topic comes up, I'll say it. I'm not going to hide. I'm not going to shut up. I will never shut up about the criminal negligence and the intentional malfeasance of Fauci and the federal government with Joe Biden and these Democrats ever. I will never stop yelling this story. But I just told these guys, I go, I've never had less faith in the medical profession as I do right now. I said, honestly, I feel like as if I got sick, I would rather die on the street corner. I would rather die on my sidewalk than ever step foot in one of your fucking facilities ever again. After what I saw, this monstrosity that you called medical treatment. By the way, real quick, and I'll get back to this and we'll kind of keep things flowing here. When my brother did receive ivermectin, the important levels that we were looking at, like O2 levels and such, it was almost immediate. The levels shot back up to like, oh my God, this is really good. I had hope. It was like, God, this could be the case story of like he was at death's door and we got him ivermectin and he got better. Sadly, I mean, the damage done, just call it a tornado that ripped through his lungs. The damage was already done at that point. And the ventilator blew his lungs apart, killed him. Heart attack, double pneumonia, COVID. It was like all these things. So there is no one size fits all approach. You need to protect the doctor's ability to prescribe monoclonal antibodies. They were so confused. They were so scared of losing their medical licenses that they couldn't tell you where monoclonal antibodies were. They didn't know where they were. My brother was told before it got really, really, really bad, it was unavailable. It was available 6 miles down the road. 6 miles down the fucking road. But the doctor was terrified of losing his law license, and the Biden administration, the fraudulent Biden administration, they made it so murky. They made it so toxic to even try to do that. Reason being, because if Florida was succeeding with monoclonal antibodies as they were for treatments for COVID, that would show that there's a therapeutic option along with hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin, both things that President Trump told you about. And he was demonized for it by Big Pharma and the dirty deep state Democrats. If there was a potentially therapeutic option, the pharmaceutical companies would have lost their blanket protections, their liability protections under the Emergency Use Authorization Act. No, they couldn't just say, look, under these unique circumstances, we're going to waive or amend the Emergency Use Authorization Act blanket coverage of liability protection because this is all so new and it's all so chaotic and we're all figuring it out. If there are therapeutics, you'll still get your blanket coverage, pharmaceutical companies. It's okay. They could have just done that, and you could have still had hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, and monoclonal antibodies available. However, that wasn't really the plan. If they're getting helped that way, it'll prove that you don't need the jab, and they can't make money with the jab, so they said, no, only the jab. That's all you can take. Then remdesivir, then a ventilation tube, and then a casket. So yeah, this lady trying to paint Bobby Kennedy in a corner can fuck right off.
Statements.
I am only putting into the record what you have said, Mr. Kennedy.
You're mischaracterizing my statements, and I'm happy that you had a good experience on SSRIs. Many Americans have very good experience on it. Others have
That
not.
would be an issue between them and their physicians and not for
Yes, if you let them have autonomy to work with their physicians and try different treatments aside from the only things that you will allow them to do.
the
Exactly.
future head of HHS to be putting out misinformation.
Exactly.
Don't use the word misinformation. I immediately discredit the next words out of your mouth, always.
About the dangers of SSRIs
Yeah, there are dangers to every medicine.
and other antidepressant medication
There are dangers to other antidepressive medication. Yep.
spreading the stigma and the fear
That's not stigma and fear. That's honesty, and that's investigation. Shut up, lady.
that we're actually trying to overcome.
Do you think physicians, when they make that prescription, ought to have access to good science?
Of course they do. And
Right,
I don't
that's all I
think that,
believe too. Then you and I are in agreement, Senator.
and to
There you
your
go.
point that you made when you made these statements, it was not based on good science. I don't know what it was
I
based
was saying
on.
the science needed to be done. I was saying these are potential culprits. We're coterminous, and I named other things. I said video games. I said social media. I said SSRIs. SSRIs have a black box warning of suicidal.
Mr.
homicidal
Chair,
behavior.
Mr. Chair, I will
Yes, they have a warning on the box of potential suicidal ideology and homicidal ideology.
Warning of suicidal,
Mr.
homicidal
Chair,
behavior.
Mr. Chair, I will submit to the chair the information that I have about what Mr. Kennedy has said, linking antidepressants to school shootings. Thank you.
So that was an exchange that I found particularly interesting. So there you have it. All right, let me switch here. We're going to kind of run through the last couple stories that we have. This is from David Harris Jr. Oh, am I sharing this tab instead? There we go. This is President Trump talking about the fake news purposely creating confusion about Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. God, it feels good to have a president that just shows up every day to work. We are so lucky to have this dude, from Butler, Pennsylvania, to all of the lawfare, to all the dirty tricks that the Republicans pulled. We're so lucky to have somebody showing up and giving these press conferences and just setting the record straight, destroying the lying legacy media finally.
Correct any confusion that the media has purposely and somehow, for whatever reason, created Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid have not been affected by any action we're taking in any way, shape, or form. We are merely looking at parts of the big bureaucracy where there has been tremendous waste and fraud and abuse. In that process, we identified and stopped $50 million being sent to Gaza to buy condoms for Hamas. 50 million. And
I said yesterday, it's the same thing people say about, well, why would you try to limit abortions? It's mostly lefties having them. It means fewer lefties are going to be born and fewer lefties are going to be raised, which means fewer backward ideologies from people who are believing the brainwashers, the Stockholm Syndrome, the liars from MSNBC, CNN, the liars from the industrial education indoctrination networks. Let them use as many condoms as they want. That'll be fewer people committing acts of war against their neighbors. Let people have as many abortions as you want. It'll be fewer people voting Democrat. It's not me saying it. That's other people saying it.
you know what's happened to them? They've used them as a method of making bombs. How about that?
Yeah. Condom bombs. Have you heard of those? It's actually a thing.
We stopped an attempt to make an illicit payment for illegal alien resettlement. We canceled $181 million in DEI training contracts. This is
Yeah, DEI is racist. It's illegal. It's toxic, and it's done. Thankfully,
just for the training of people in DEI, which has been terminated and completely terminated. And we paused $1.7 billion in unauthorized payments to foreign organizations, including stopping more than $40 million that was on its way out the door to the very corrupt World Health Organization, which has not done its job and not done it properly. We also...
Yeah, by the way, the World Health Organization, yeah. Get out of here. We're a sovereign nation. You're not going to tell us what we may and may not do.
We also blocked $45 million for diversity scholarships in Burma. 45, that's a lot of money for diversity scholarships in Burma.
It's money laundering. Stop it all. All of it. Time for surplus time. Time to make our currency valuable again, make our country start kicking ass again.
Stating right now to...
Anyway, so that was from David Harris Jr. That was a pretty good clip right there. Here you go. Stop. I can't take so much winning. I was already in favor of Bobby Kennedy. Don't make me love him anymore.
Profitable. In fact, he may have the opportunity to bankrupt the vaccine manufacturers, and then nobody gets vaccine.
Stop. I was already supporting him. I can only win so much.
In fact, he may have the opportunity to bankrupt the vaccine manufacturers, and then nobody gets vaccine.
Like I said, this is shared from Concerned Citizen at B Gates is a psycho. All right. I was already there. Anyway, this is another clip of the one that I showed you. Okay, that is the gist of what I had to share from our Instagram feed. Let me just run through a couple of the trending stories, and we will wrap up today's program of today's episode of the TNAM AM Show. Buzz through some breaking news, share this tab instead. So here's Pete Hegseth. God, it feels good to have adults in charge again. Talking with, this guy on Fox. Do you agree or disagree with Pete Hegseth?
What's happening with DEI? How's that going at the Defense Department?
Well, DEI is not going well at the Defense Department because it's dead.
Yes.
We will, as the president said in his inaugural, we will be merit-based and colorblind, and that is the case at the Defense Department.
As it should be.
DEI is going to be ripped out root and branch because we want everyone treated equally with high standards and held accountable with warfighting, lethality, and readiness front and center. We don't have time for emphasizing differences. Jesse, one of the dumbest phrases in military history is our diversity is our strength. Our diversity is not our strength. Our unity and our shared purpose is our strength. And the Pentagon is excited to get back to that core mission. It's happening rapidly. The services are responding, and those that don't want to respond can work somewhere else. So diversity, equity, inclusion will not be a part of the Defense Department, not a minute long.
What's happening with DEI?
Jesse Waters. I was struggling to remember his name. I don't watch Fox News anymore. So aside from a clip that I share, I don't know who the players are. I forget their names a little bit. It's all because of Chris Wallace. Mike Wallace? Yeah, Chris Wallace. When he lied and repeated the fine people hoax during the 2020 presidential debates to try to kneecap Donald Trump, knowing it was bullshit, knowing it was a lie. A Snopes even approved lie. Snopes says it's a lie. And Chris Wallace did it anyway. So I've been done with Fox ever since that. It's been 5 years, 4 or 5 years since I've watched Fox. But yeah, Jesse Waters. I like Jesse. Jesse's fine. But one of the dumbest that, and it's like our vice president J.D. Vance said the other day with that lady. It's the dumbest idea to say just because 240 years ago we were founded by settlers and immigrants that today we should have the dumbest immigration policy on earth. Yeah, it's the dumbest thing you could ever say. Our diversity is our strength. No, it's not. You fight under one flag for one country. Our unity and our shared purpose is our strength. Bravo. God, that's a brilliant phrase. The messaging coming from this second Trump or third Trump administration has been pretty freaking fantastic. I don't know how much happier I could be after 8-9 days. I'm thrilled. I have a thrill running up my leg. So here's what's going on with the plane crash. Let me just buzz through some of the latest. So there was a mid-air collision over the Potomac. No survivors were found. An American Airlines regional jet with 64 people, on board, collided mid-air with a U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter near Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport. The incident occurred yesterday, leading to massive search and rescue in the Potomac. No survivors reported. Cause of the crash under investigation. I did see a Paul Joseph Watson. Let me pull this up. See if I can find this clip. And he does a really good job of breaking stories down. I appreciate his work. And so let's just let him tell you some of the things he's notated. Is this the right view? Let me go that way. Try that. All right, here we go. Strange things about the plane crash.
A collision of an American Airlines flight and a Black Hawk helicopter over Washington, D.C., with some, including the president himself, suggesting it should have never happened.
What happened? Oh my God!
Why was the Black Hawk reportedly flying dark near a busy airport? Why didn't it take evasive action when Black Hawks have such adept maneuverability? The plane appears to have descended onto the helicopter.
The Black Hawk helicopter appeared to be coming from the right of the commercial flight that was descending into runway 33.
But some claim the chopper flew directly into the American Airlines jet. Experts are baffled as to how traffic collision sensors failed.
This is just so staggering. Commercial flights are equipped for ages with a system called TCAS, Traffic Collision Avoidance System. It tells the pilots in the cockpit how to avoid other airplanes nearby.
With many perplexed as to how such an accident could happen in 2025. The airplane was on a perfect and routine line of approach to the airport, said Trump. The helicopter was going straight at the airplane for an extended period of time. It's a clear night. The lights on the plane were blazing. Why didn't the helicopter go up?
By the way, look at Donald Trump. Look at President Trump. Immediately, like a boss, like a leader, digging in, asking questions, providing updates, speaking coherently, leading by example. We have been completely devoid of presidential leadership for 12 of the last 16 years with Obama, Biden. The thing about Barack Obama is that I could read a teleprompter well, but I might have sounded like I was intelligent and that I gave a shit. However, I don't. I think Americans have had it too good for too long, and I am working quietly, surreptitiously, sneakily to destroy the United States of America. So yeah, Obama, he sounded great. Oh, he sounded nice. He could read. He's got a golden tongue, that Obama. Don't make a mic joke. That is not fair. And I didn't mean microphone. All right, anyway, but just reading this here from Donald Trump, President Trump, we're getting real leadership here. We're getting someone who is digging in immediately because this is a huge catastrophe. Anytime this happens one place, it makes everything else vulnerable. But there have been warnings that cartels and other people were going to go after flights. And we've seen all these drones all across. And this type of helicopter, my understanding is that it could be remotely controlled. Was there a pilot there, or was somebody operating it? Was somebody operating it maliciously, intentionally to cause harm? Who was on the plane? I have a million questions. President Trump, boom, jumping right into it. This was late at night, and he's on it already. He's on top of it, trying to figure things out.
Nearby.
With many perplexed as to how such an accident could happen in 2025. The airplane was on a perfect and routine line of approach to the airport, said Trump. The helicopter was going straight at the airplane for an extended period of time. It's a clear night. The lights on the plane were blazing. Why didn't the helicopter go up or down or turn? Why didn't the control tower tell the helicopter what to do instead of asking if they saw the plane? One eyewitness told NBC News it was the plane that seemed to be acting bizarrely, showing a stream of sparks on its underside. Why weren't both aircraft told to make immediate diversions when radar showed they were on a direct collision course? The helicopter would have needed to slow way down or make a substantial left turn to pass behind the plane.
And this is Opie and Anthony Cumia.
It apparently did neither. Very odd. Instead, it made a slight right turn, resulting in the collision. The AT...
By the way, making odd turns just to make sure that you cause an impact. Remember when that Baltimore bridge was hit and it took down the entire bridge? Remember the lights went off, the lights went on. It was on one trajectory, and it was almost as if it was steered directly in to the pylons, into the post, into one of the main support beams of that bridge, and the whole damn thing came tumbling down. That felt very intentional. How much of what we've seen from wildfires in California and Maui, how much that we've seen with the hurricane and the flood in North Carolina, how much of what we've seen with, like I said, the Baltimore bridge collapse, with airlines, with there's a lot you could pick. How much of this has been warfare? Victoria Nuland, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, the deep state, they have been pushing war with Russia for a long time. They've let up to 30 million illegal alien invaders, many of them being military-aged men from China, Africa, Middle East, places that are not fond of us, to put sleeper cells strategically placed across this country. How much of what we've seen, East Palestine, Ohio, we can ask as well. How much of these disasters, how many of these disasters have been intentional? I would love to ask these questions and get some more in-depth analysis on that. Oh, but don't worry, that lady who was bitching at Bobby Kennedy. No, stop asking questions. We haven't figured out. No. There can't be anything bad. Just shut up. Listen, you're misinformation and disinformation. We have all the answers. No. I want to keep asking questions and really approach it from every angle and make sure we understand it so we can learn from it so that we can heal. If we're being attacked, we need to know it. If it's accidental, we need to fix the accidents. If it's murky, we got to answer the questions.
BBC was asking the Black Hawk if it had the airplane in sight only moments before the crash.
This club has an aircraft in sight for separation. 472 Washington Tower, 1 star, 32017.
An air traffic controller seemed to be taken by surprise.
How did you see that?
I just saw a fireball and then it was just gone.
I mean, what the hell were they doing in the control tower? They had one job. It might be too soon, but certain questions are being asked. Others are blaming Trump for freezing air traffic control DEI hires, a policy that wouldn't even have taken effect just a week into his administration.
By the way, DEI hires are like, I want as many people from the Ohio State University to be in the FAA. Huh? Look, I root for the Buckeyes. I didn't go there, but I root for the Ohio State Buckeyes. But it has nothing. It doesn't matter where you go to school. What matters is, are you competent for the job? DEI is the opposite. Like, well, we need someone from the Ohio State University. We need 5 of them. We need 10 Florida State University graduates. We need 15 from University of Oregon. Why? Just because they're marginalized groups or something. And, we just need to represent what the country looks like. No, you don't. You need qualified people. Doesn't matter where they went to school or if they didn't go to school. You need to prove competency and hire the best of the best. So yeah, freezing DEI, that improves your ability to bring in the best and the brightest.
In reality, the FAA has been turning away quality applicants for nearly a decade because they weren't diverse enough.
And by the way, that's exactly what Adam Carolla said in California. By the way, go back on the YouTube channel. You can find my interview with Adam Carolla at the Politicon convention in Los Angeles. But he said, he was a young man and he applied to be a firefighter. And they're like, oh, sorry, you're a white male, white straight male. Good luck. We'll put you on a waiting list. Maybe it'll be 10, 15 years later. It was like 7 or 10 years later or something. He got a call, or they mailed his dad. He moved out and he was working in construction. He's like, I'll go take the test. And he asked somebody in line, hey, I've been waiting for like a decade. How long have you been on the list? She's like, I applied a couple days ago. It was a young woman of color, he said. By the way, we all have a color. Just enough of this stupidity. None of this shit matters. It's interesting, sort of, for background purposes, but it's not relevant on a daily basis. Although people like Barack Obama, outlets but like CNN and MSNBC and teachers unions seem to drive this point home to divide, distract, destroy, and dismantle the critical thought capabilities of our nation's youth so that they can create perpetual Democrats that will consistently vote against their own self-interest. But I digress. Yeah, it's been a problem with Adam Carolla and the firefighters in Los Angeles. They won't bring in qualified people. They want lesbians. They won't bring in qualified people. They want black people. They won't bring in qualified people. And that's not to say you can't be a lesbian who's qualified. That's not to say that you can't be a black person that's qualified. Of course, anybody from any walk of life can be qualified. But prioritizing based on who you sleep with and the amount of melanin in your skin or where your ancestors might have been from, according to some company that runs a DNA test, or Elizabeth Warren's case says, I had high cheekbones. I'll pretend to be Native American to get free money or to get a job. None of that shit matters. What matters is, do you have competent people ready to do the jobs, and will you let them do the job?
A week into his administration. In reality, the FAA has been turning away quality applicants for nearly a decade because they weren't diverse enough.
Hi, I'm Brad Mims, Deputy Administrator at the Federal Aviation Administration. We need a diverse group of air traffic controllers to bring distinct perspectives to handle the ever-changing.
No, you do not. What did he just say? I can't even believe I'm hearing this crap. I'm so happy we've turned the page on this garbage.
Federal Aviation Administration. We need a diverse group of air traffic controllers to bring distinct perspectives to handle the ever-changing.
Diverse group for distinct. What the hell? I don't even care. You need the perspective of keeping aircraft from hitting each other in the air. There's no diverse opinions on that. You do the job and keep them from touching each other in the sky. Oh, well, what does a person of Irish descent have to say about that? What about somebody from Australia? Do you have a unique cultural perspective that would help illuminate the situation so that these aircraft could avoid each other in transit? Shut up. Do the job. Just the job. All this other stuff is intentionally distracting.
Aerospace landscape. We need a diverse next generation air traffic workforce.
In 2023, there were 503 air traffic control lapses categorized as significant, up 65% from last year. In Obama's final years, they literally lowered the skill standards and turned away thousands of qualified, experienced candidates, many of whom were pilots, veterans, or had an air traffic control background.
By the way, remember the guy with the Deep Horizon? What was that called? The Horizon Deep Water. Let's go to the Titanic wreckage. And he was on there bragging about, oh, no, we're not going to have old white guys helping us build this stuff. You mean you don't want qualified people? That's not to say that all white people are qualified or that old people are qualified. You want qualified people. Firing people because they don't look diverse enough and not hiring them to begin with because they don't check off these random Skittle boxes of, well, I need seven purple, 7 green, 7 yellow, 7 orange, 7 red. By the way, red dye number 3 is banned, as it should have always been banned. It's lunacy. By the way, subscribe to Paul Joseph Watson. I've liked his work kind of forever. He does a really good job knocking these videos out. And this one, just released 21 minutes ago. It's an important one.
Because essentially, they were white men. But don't let that get in the way of a good Trump derangement syndrome narrative. As if some irrelevant bureaucratic committee had anything whatsoever to do with the response of the DC ATC in live real time last night. If you want to express your ideas through videos like I do, you should check out InVideo.
Oh, okay, hold on. Here's a commercial. I think he's done.
Everything. Add subtitles, translate to...
Hold on. Just trying to get to the content. When's this commercial done?
Editing, animating, and other. Clicking the link in... altitude.
There we go.
AI by clicking the link in the description box down below. Others are pointing to this flight path video, suggesting the Black Hawk was flying erratically and almost hit other aircraft before smashing into the American Airlines. Although respondents pointed out that this doesn't account for altitude, with some conceding that the Black Hawk does seem to be flying somewhat waywardly. And if you thought a flight path video couldn't be chilling, then watch this. It shows the AA5342 revert back to the middle of the river and then fall completely off the radar map. A slew of pretty dumb conspiracy theories that emerge after every tragedy arrived like clockwork. The claim that the chopper was a VIP aircraft that had just left CIA headquarters. It didn't. It came from Fort Belvoir and was on a routine training mission. The claim that, quote, CNN published an article about the DC plane crash 7 hours before it took place. No, they didn't. As Cernovich explained, this is just a result of old stories being updated so news networks can grab the top spots on Google News searches. A more legitimate criticism of CNN is that they wasted no time whatsoever.
By the way, I mean, that's an important thing to understand, because yeah, how did you report on this thing that didn't happen? And Cerno kind of pointing out, by the way, we had an interview with Mike Cernovich. Might have been at that same Politicon event in Los Angeles. Check that out. Brian Engelman, Mike Cernovich, I think it was for his movie Hoaxed. And we did a sit down, him and Stefan Molyneux separately, but they were at the same booth. Check that out on YouTube. Yeah, check out our backlog. We've had great conversations with a lot of interesting people over the years. But yeah, it's important to understand why these things happen. But let's ask the question, and what I love about X is in community notes, someone will say, no, here's what happened and here's the reason for it. I love that instant feedback analysis that can shed light and help people understand, well, they asked this question, they were wondering, they thought it might have been, but turns out it wasn't. Like and you leave that stuff up. You leave it there. It's like when the United States had a prohibition against alcohol and then they took it back, but they left the prohibition there and they leave the fact that, look, we tried this before, it didn't work. We're not erasing it. We want you to learn from the experience that we learned from it. This shit doesn't work. So it's good to know that stuff.
In suggesting that the transfer of power played a role, all but blaming Trump.
Look, it's January 29th. We are just 9 days out from a presidential transition, an administrative transition. The FAA administrator resigned at the end of the Biden administration. So there is no permanent confirmed FAA administrator right now.
She didn't want to say it outright, but you know for sure what she was implying.
Is there any reason to believe there was any foul play here?
I think you have to look at this with eyes wide open, see what happened. Human error, was it some sort of equipment failure? Did DEI play a role in this type of thing?
Let's pray they find some survivors. But given the temperature and conditions and what we've learned so far, it doesn't look great.
Can you show us a text message that you got from her?
Landing in 20 minutes. The rest of my text did not get delivered. That's when I realized something might be up.
Are there any pilots watching? I'd be fascinated to know what you think happened in the comments down below.
Yeah, check out Modernity News. Paul Joseph Watson is a important voice in alternative media. Let me share this instead. All right, tearing through a couple of these notes on the crash. Let me go side by side. There we are. All right. Redhead Libertarian saying that airplane was taking figure skaters, coaches, and their families home from a national training camp full of talented young people just beginning their lives. Is that true? You go to ESPN. Is that at the top of the story here? Oh, shit. Yeah. Hang on. Let me share this instead. I didn't know that. 14 linked to figure skating were on a crashed airplane in D.C.
Aware of the awful mid-air collision involving an American Airlines passenger jet and a military helicopter. Well, this morning we have learned that some of the people on board that plane were U.S. figure skaters, their coaches, and family members. They were.
All right. Well, damn. Just pray for the families. I hate these things happening. God. Man, prayers to everybody. Yeah, just, I don't know. Yeah, Sean Duffy, my buddy sends me a text message. Hey, if you're out there watching, you're like, hey, tough first day on the job. Yeah, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, day one. Here you go. Here's a new job. And here's a cataclysm. He was a catastrophe.
Don't read into that we had how many hours the pilots on a military aircraft had, and you had another question for me that was...
Last night, the president had said that this could be prevented, and also that air traffic control, questioning why they may not have communicated with the helicopter, telling them what to do.
We are going to wait for all the information to come in from this vantage point, but to back up what the president said, what I've seen so far, do I think this was preventable? Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it better be preventable, or else we're all screwed. We're all done. Anyway, prayers to everybody involved. That's really rough. All right, this will be the last story I will cover, and then I will let you go for today. Kash Patel has arrived for his nomination hearing. There he is. Confirm him. This guy's getting ready to get to work. Over 50 former and retired FBI agents send a letter to Senate leaders ahead of Kash Patel's confirmation hearing, demanding that they confirm him. Oh, there you go. That's the opposite of 51 intelligence officials who lied about Hunter Biden's laptop having all the classic earmarks of Russian disinformation. Bullshit. This one is like, yeah, you better put Kash in charge. The letter was sent to Senate leaders Chuck Grassley, John Thune, Dick Durbin, and Chuck Schumer. Quote, as a group of retired FBI special agents, we support President Trump's nomination of Kash Patel as the FBI's next director. Many Americans have lost faith in the FBI. Yeah, we've lost faith in just about everything from media to medicine to law enforcement because it's all been bastardized by the deep state Democrats and some co-conspirators in the Republican Party as well. Many Americans have lost faith in the FBI, and for good reason. The FBI is broken, and with this loss of trust has come a rise in threats at home and abroad. Drug cartels and Mexican gangs have taken control of the border and have infiltrated cities across the country, bringing violent crime and drugs with them. China has grown more brazen, engaging in espionage that robs U.S. businesses of their intellectual property and undermines our national security. The FBI has been used as a tool in the weaponization of the Department of Justice to go after its political enemies. Lives have been shattered. This needs to stop. Never has the FBI faced such an urgent and compelling need for comprehensive reform as it does today. Mr. Patel has proven he possesses the breadth of experience required to address these challenges. His leadership, expertise, and vision make him uniquely qualified to guide the FBI through this pivotal moment. And for these reasons, we stand in full support of Kash Patel's nomination. Here's a live view. I'll just go ahead and share this if you want to check it out after the fact. RSBN is broadcasting that. Cat Turd saying that's Kash Patel is the most important pick to confirmed. Tom Fitton said that Kash also knew that Trump was innocent, but Kash actually tried to protect him and expose the abuse. Kash Patel can't be confirmed as FBI director soon enough. Call your senators and share your views at the number listed there. They're in panic. What's this little clip? Is this live? Yes, this is live. I thought this was a clip. Looking for the good clips right away, but if we can't find them now, we will have them at 3 p.m. Eastern time for the Agree to Disagree show, where I hope you will follow us and join us there. So, all right. Yeah, looking for clips. Don't really have clips. Of course, Kash Patel and Tulsi Gabbard, looking for all these people to get nominated as soon as possible. That is the hope. All right. So if you like the New American Media and what we are doing, we appreciate you because we can't do it without you. I'm going to put on this screen what I need to grab this video and add me talking over it. But this shows the links. It's like a couple seconds. It'll show you exactly the places to follow us. Pause it and make sure you're following us in every one of these locations. We will post different info on each of these sites, from Facebook to Instagram to YouTube to Rumble, etc. Here it is. Yes, those are the places to follow us and link up and assist us. If you appreciate the New American Media, we love your crowdfunding and support. Without you to contribute to the New American Media, we're on patreon.com/the New American Media. You can do $5 a month, $15 a month, $100 a month, $1,000 a month, or $10,000 a month. My God, you want to sign up for that 10K number? I promise you two things. Number one, I don't give a shit about your personal ideologies. And if you're going to ask me to change my stories and my interpretations based on the fact that you're paying me, You're going to do it because you like the stuff that we put out and you want more voices making sense out in that landscape. And I'm going to call each story as I see it. So I will take your money, but I will not change my opinion. The second thing I guarantee you, if you donate at the $10,000 mark, I'll be forever humbled. I could only imagine the amount of work I could do if I didn't have to focus all of the extra energy in different places, and I could put it just directly toward delivering content each and every day. And the amount of people we could start hiring. I have a grand plan for the New American Media. It involves having other people on the payroll. So as we grow, it's all appreciated from you, even just the people that sign up for $5 a month, the bare minimum. It's all appreciated. It all goes to pay some of the bills. We've also had people donate through Venmo. On Venmo, it's my name, at Brian Engelman, BrianEngelman. Thank you to all of you who have sent and contributed through Venmo. Your support means the world. You know, it's like sometimes you feel like you're just talking, you're putting your voice up against a brick wall and nobody's noticing. But, you know, it's moments like that. And, you know, because we get metrics on so many different accounts. All right, the video, today's morning show, the TNAM AM Show, we drew these numbers on Rumble, these numbers on YouTube, these numbers on Spotify, these numbers on X, these numbers on Facebook. It's like, it's going all over the place. But yeah, the people that shoot it through Venmo, we appreciate you more than I can put into words. And of course, we're on PayPal at Fuzz Installment, FUZZINSTALLMENT. I actually need to update that now that I'm thinking about it and I have it pulled up. Maybe I should do that immediately here. We also have another account for Cash App. Where's that? It's $sign Brian Engelman. $sign Brian Engelman. That's the Cash App cash tag. Not a hashtag, a cash tag. Not to be confused with the Cash Patel tag. There you go. We put the Cash App cash tag Brian Engelman on there as well, so you can see that. Actually, let me add a couple spaces here. Contribute to the New American Media. All right. So on Patreon, we'll add a couple spaces. So on Patreon, like I said, patreon.com/the New American Media, but youtube.com/the New American Media. That's where you will find 1,600, almost 1,700 videos. That's definitely appreciated. Rumble is where we are monetized right now. Trying to grow. We're getting better numbers on Rumble with, I don't know, 150 subscribers than we are on YouTube with 6,400 subscribers, millions of views. YouTube hides our shit. They will not recommend our shit. They derank, they deboost, they shadow ban our stuff. And honestly, if I only had YouTube as an option to upload content, I probably wouldn't be making content. In fact, I did stop making content for a while because there was no point. There's a lot that goes into finding these stories, delivering these stories, and providing all this in-depth analysis based on the years of experience and my ability to connect stories to previous stories. Like, it's the punditry of it all. Everyone has a take. Nobody's take will be the same. Unless you're talking about those compilation videos where you see the lying legacy media repeating their talking points. It's pretty ridiculous when you see it. All right. The places you need to find us are Spotify, the Agree to Disagree Show. We'll upload this TNAM AM Show under the umbrella of the Agree to Disagree Show. It's just the morning version of going through content. Like I said, YouTube at the New American Media, Rumble, the New American Media, X at American_media_, Truth Social, the New American Media, Instagram, the New American Media, and Facebook, the New American Media, and TNAM's the Agree to Disagree Show. Those are the places you can find us. All right, I'm going to tap out for now. Yeah, broadcasting from a new studio today. Kind of working on, I got my green screen. I got this angled. It's not perfect, but I do kind of see a little light. I see some potential here. I think having the actual green screen behind me and the lighting this way, I know the lighting is still a little shadowy and I could probably go for another one up here. It clarifies the outline. When I was in the previous studio, it had like a virtual background without the green screen and, you know, things kind of wobbled and faded in and out at the edges. It's okay, but I do like this better. I just have to angle it and get rid of the peripheral. But we're working on it and we're on a new microphone today. I used to broadcast this way, then I moved away from it. Now I'm back to it, but It's all a work in progress here with the New American Media. All right, signing out. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. I love you, and we'll talk to you again soon. Take care.